well, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Well, last time we talked, you said you had ideas, you hoped somebody would reach out to you, and guess what? It came to pass that somebody got word that Martin Armstrong had an excellent plan to end the war, end the idea of World War III with nuclear powers, and take the country and the world in a different direction. So why don't you talk a little bit about when you got the call and what your thinking was compared to where the direction we were on where we could actually go?
Well, I was surprised to get the call. Usually because I'm on the opposite side of all the neocons, and I figured they would put the Iron Curtain up to make sure I don't get anywhere close, But there are people there who are, I would say, trying to kick back against them. Yeah. When I was called in, I asked, I said, is this sanctioned? Or am I being called into an alternative group or something? And they said, no, this is sanctioned, and I was approved to be, called in. I was, okay, I was surprised that there was no peace plan. But the neocons, they always tell leaders, don't even talk, because they're afraid that if you even open a conversation, you may reach peace. So I guess, in hindsight, it's the fact that they called me in and asked me to write up a plan, I guess reflects that they have just been, stonewalling anything and everybody. They also know I have, real back channels. I mean, we have offices in China to UAE. So, and I've been doing this for 50 years, so they know I can, I've got the contacts and everything that come with that age. So they did ask me to, can you, use your back channels a little bit? I said, all right, fine. So I do believe that report ended up on Putin's desk as well. Right. And I think that's why you saw Lavrov come out and suddenly say, we're willing to guarantee we don't want to attack, NATO, which they don't. I mean, it's just propaganda. I've been to dinner with some of these neocons over the years, and Bill Crystal even spoke at one of our conferences. So, I'm well aware of their thinking process. It's hard to rationalize it, actually, but, what I told them is that, look, I think that they're just pissed off that communism fell. They didn't get to shoot anybody, They spent their whole life, praying for war with communists and stuff like that, and then it just falls apart. Because I was in D.C. when Reagan wanted to go meet with Gorbachev, and they couldn't say he was a communist anymore. So what they were saying was, well, you can never trust a Russian. I don't know. It's just bias or whatever. You saw Lindsey Graham in that meeting with Zelensky saying this is the best money we ever spent to kill Russians. I mean, if you said that about blacks or Muslim or some other group, they would, they'd lock you up. But it's okay to say that about Russians, and NATO's the same. One of the real ruthless neocons used to be Madeleine Albright. Right. And you take Victoria Nuland, Garland, and Blinken, all of them, they claim that their families were persecuted by Russians, and they're all from the Eastern, European area. How do all these people end up at such high level? And it's like, Hatfield and McCoy's or something, it's like, I just hate Russians because they did this to me when I was 10 years old or whatever, and so let's hate all Russians or something.
Right. Well, that also takes you to Brzezinski and his grand chessboard idea and all of that. And he was in there with Carter, and then he was brought back in with Obama, with Kissinger, with Madeleine Albright, to kind of reignite the Cold War again. And when you look back, Russia actually fought with us, were allies of ours, as was China. Now they're acting like that never happened, and the shift was, just now it's the Russians. But it looks like even when you read Brzezinski's work and his books, it's all about hating Russia. It's personal to a level that's crazy, especially now with the nuclear weapons that are had, and also that they don't want to expand. Like you said, that was all propaganda. And where we are now is Zelensky is still asking for $400 billion more to continue down a path when they already lost. So to me, at this point, it's money laundering, or the whole thing about a war for profit, or Smedley Butler, that they're trying to save themselves. I don't know if you saw the Economist front cover this week, and that said that it was an opportunity for the EU to go to war with Russia financially. I mean, this is what we're talking about at this point, it seems, that the financial money that they make in the reconstruction, or in the more chaos, the more money. It seems totally inhuman and insane.
Well, I think it's also part of the reason why I got called in. Because when they were forming the euro, I was called into that. And I said, okay, this is how we create a currency. And I explained, look, you have to consolidate the debt. And Helmut Kohl at the time was Chancellor of Germany, and he knew that German people would vote against it. So he took Germany into the euro without any public vote.
Wow.
And so he basically said no consolidation of the debt, because he thought the German people would object, thinking it was a bailout for Greece or Italy or something like that. So I warned them. I said, you have to consolidate the debt, or euro's never going to succeed. And I was told back in '98, look, we understand. We just have to get the euro in, and then we'll worry about the debt later. And they never did. And for those that aren't really a trader, this is the problem that Europe is facing now. And why in this meeting, I warned Europe is it's collapsing.
Right.
In the United States, our banking system, the reserves are with U.S. Treasuries. So if California went bust, the traders are going to say, okay, who's next? Oh, maybe Illinois. They're not going to attack the U.S. Treasury. All right. In Europe, you don't have that. So the bank's reserves are all a cornucopia of the various debts of each country. So you just had France and UK finance ministers hint that they might need an IMF bailout. So the traders are immediately going to look at it and say, which bank has the most French debt? And they're going to start shorting that. So you're looking at undermining the entire banking system of Europe. And then that extends to the pension fund problem, because the pension funds, on average, 70% have to have government debt. So that's what you're really looking at here. And this is what I warned them, that, Europe will stab you in the back, because Europe needs this war. Right? I mean, either they get a war, or you're going to have all the people, when their pension funds are gone and everything else, storming the parliaments with pitchforks. And So I think that's part of the reason I was also called in, because I think they, maybe I have screamed loud enough and they realize that this is an economic problem, behind the scenes. And, I've spoken to people high up in France, and they call Macron basically the petite Napoleon. Yeah. And you have Britain, and I don't know, it's maybe like Erdogan in Turkey has this dream of resurrecting the Ottoman Empire. And these people have the same delusional dreams, I think. They think they can conquer Russia. It has 75 trillion in natural resources, and then that's twice the size U.S. national debt, and voila, the Roman Empire rises again to rule the world. It's really delusional. And when Trump made that comment, it was very sarcastic. Oh, Russia's a paper tiger. Ukraine, you can keep all your land and go get more. This is what NATO is telling people over there. I think that's what he was being sarcastic about. Right. NATO is claiming they have 3.4 million soldiers against Russia's 1.5. Of course, 3.4 includes the United States and Canada. Wow. And so the other side that I hear is that, Russia, Putin will never push the button because he knows it will blow back on him. So this idea that they can just walk in to Russia, take it, he'll fall to his knees, beg for his life before they chop off his head or something. And as if there'll never be a nuke or anything. It's just delusional.
So you had this 5-point plan that basically is a step by step. You do this. If that doesn't work, you do this. And I think that no matter what, we should figure out a way to either leave NATO and the NATO treaty, because at this point, what is NATO about? I feel like they keep creating, reasons to expand and exist. And they're really causing the problem. So, and then we're funding it, and then they want us to fight for them. It just seems like a relic that should have been done away with a long time ago that is a big part of this problem.
Yeah, I did point that out, and they actually agreed with me. There's no purpose to NATO. It's anti-peace. Right. It has to create war. Right. And this nonsense of Putin will invade Europe. It's the same scenario from Khrushchev days. But that was different. That was communism. It was a philosophical thing that he actually believed, that, communism is better than capitalism and you're all going to fall apart and stuff like that. Whereas, when Yeltsin turned to Putin, he was being attacked by the neocons on our side, and the old Russian neocons on his side, who filed a motion for impeachment. They were trying to get rid of him to take it back to the USSR. So he turned to Putin because Putin was not an oligarch and he wasn't a communist.
Right.
All right. So there's absolutely no reason that Putin, is probably closer to retirement. If he wanted to do something, he would have done it back in 1999. Europe has nothing. They have to buy their energy from Russia. They have no gold. They have no rare earths. Nothing. And, what I told them, I said, yeah, if Putin goes in, the French are just going to say, are you going to pay our pensions now? That's it. Right. There's any war. Japan went into Manchuria for assets. Okay. Napoleon went after, basically, Russia for assets. Hitler did the same. there's got to be some beneficial issue.
Reason.
You don't go, let's go invade Bangladesh. For what? Well, just, I don't like them. That's it.
Right, exactly.
There's got to be some sort of...
Right.
And so I also had sources that were there at a meeting between the foreign minister of China with Kalis.
Okay.
Number 2 of the EU.
Right, I know, yeah.
And she's another
Really doesn't know much.
crazy person. But she was telling them that to tell Russia to surrender and get out, And the response was, we're not prepared to see Russia lose. And then he followed up and he says, because we know we would be next. So they know that this is a war against, NATO against Russia. It's not Ukraine. Zelensky's just, he won't have an election. His polls are down at 23%. And the Ukrainians I speak to say that if he was on fire, they wouldn't urinate on him until he was dead.
Right.
He wants more money to keep the war going. That's all he's doing. Yep. And he's out there with, Larry Fink and everybody, we'll get trillions of dollars to rebuild, Ukraine. So in the proposal I did, I said, look, the last time Trump was negotiating with Putin, Kalis actually came out and said, well, we're not going to honor anything because we're not at the table. And so I said, look, first of all, you say, this isn't our proposal. You already signed the Minsk agreement. So you were at the table. Right. Okay? The Donbass gets to vote on separation. All right? And if you don't honor what you signed before, we withdraw from NATO.
Right. That's the way.
And then part 2, I said for this, Zelensky, whatever you want to call him, I said you basically do an executive order. No Americans allowed to invest 10 cents directly or indirectly in Ukraine.
Right. Well,
that will cut off his trillions of dollars that he's expecting to get.
Exactly.
Unless he signs the Minsk agreement. Well, here, Ukraine...
You have to honor it.
Yeah, it's... So, then I proposed, one, to accept Putin's offer about doing a tunnel between Alaska and Russia. He needs a win. And I think the other thing that I scared them about was, it seems like nobody understands their history or something. I don't know. But I said when Khrushchev had to back down from 62, from the Cuban Missile Crisis, he was overthrown. Right. There was a coup. Brezhnev came in. Then when I put out a book, it's on Amazon, The Plot to Seize Russia, right in the beginning, I got a hold of all the declassified documents from the Clinton administration. And lo and behold, there it is. Put it right in the front. NATO, Russia was invited to join NATO. And so their neocons staged another coup to overthrow Gorbachev because they were afraid he was going to take it. Oh, wow. That's when Yeltsin had to stand on the tank and all that stuff. Right. So I said, if you really think you can embarrass Putin to have to step away from Ukraine, and sanctions and all this crazy stuff, I said, if he did, there's going to be a third coup. Right. And this one, you're not going to get out of it so easily. Because all you're going to get at this point is one of their neocons who just hate you as much as you hate them.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Who are you going to get if not Putin? Probably somebody that's way angrier and doesn't care.
Yeah, Putin is actually very restrained. And he's laid down many red lines. And I can tell you, I spoke actually with some military. Then in Ukraine, they were initially told just to go to the border. And then an order came from MI6 to invade Russia and go into the Kursk region. So they thought, okay, fine. No matter what we do, he won't attack NATO. So we'll invade Russia. That will get him to do it. And he still didn't do anything. All right. He said, if you give long-range missiles, that's it. They've been doing that. They're trying to get him to attack anything in NATO so that they can claim that he started the war.
Right. Like last week, there were 2 hits, one in Ukraine and one in Romania, that looked like they were meant to do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I spoke to some people in surrounding governments. They said there was absolutely no drones that flew from Russia into Poland. Right. That was a false flag. Immediately, we should create a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Really. Right. It's getting pretty bad. You even have the neocons in the Pentagon who, Trump said he did want to give Tomahawks because our supply's not, unlimited. And suddenly the Pentagon, last Friday, I think, came out, oh no, we got plenty of them, you can give them to them. Now, what's the problem? A Tomahawk can carry also nuclear weapons. Now, from Putin's side, you've got one of those flying towards Moscow. What does it have? Does it have a nuke or does it not? You don't know. So, it's a complete game changer.
And it's not worth it. Didn't they just test a nuclear submarine? Like, why are we even messing with it? There seems no reason to further this war at all. There's no nuclear reason to continue down this path. There never should be, but there's certainly not in this situation any reason to escalate to any level beyond where we are. And to even want to is inhuman, I think, and psychopathic. And I can't imagine anyone that's sane would want such a thing.
They really think, I don't know, they spent their whole life just hating Russians. And they don't care about the country, the people, nothing. It's like a football game to them that they got to win. That's it. And is there anybody left standing? I mean, right. Look at Zelensky. When he went in, he promised peace, and the death toll was 130,000. It's now 1.8 million. And he wants more. He doesn't care about the Ukrainian people. What's he fighting for? Territory that is occupied by Russians, the Donbass. He's outlawed their language, outlawed their religion.
No, I know. I mean, not someone we should be openly supporting. Not just that, he's making people move. He's doing all these things. He's closing churches. I saw they're begging not to close another church. I mean, he controls the media. I mean, it's a totalitarian situation there that we're supporting at this point.
Look, I had one source there, Laura, who was an American. He's the one that investigated. He was a cokehead, etc. All of a sudden, he gets arrested, thrown in prison, and he dies of pneumonia. It was a natural death. Oh, really? So that means, how do you die of pneumonia in prison? So obviously, you didn't take care of him. Right. But if he did die that way, who the hell knows?
Exactly.
I was told. I mean, we had employees there in Kiev and in Donetsk before all this started, and I am very familiar with them. We had a conference in Athens, and the one from Kiev wouldn't fly back the quickest way because the plane just stopped at Moscow. They hate. This is. What people have to understand is that Ukraine is the motherland of ethnic cleansing. They killed so many Jews, so many Poles and Russians. Only because they were killing Russians, the CIA protected them. That's it. They were far worse than the Germans. This is all documented. They would take a Jewish woman who was pregnant, cut the baby out, and sew in a live cat. All this is documented. I mean, they were horrible people. They, what they did to the Poles. I mean, even the German Nazis were horrified by it. At least
I know. I read that they told them to take it down a notch, that it was too horrifying for the world, even though they were in a concentration camp.
It's they didn't torture people. All right, fine. They gassed a lot of people, but they didn't cut babies out and all this kind of stuff. Crucify people and then set them on fire. I mean,
they were doing that not that long ago. Not all the
I have videos of that too. It's they still do that. It's I don't know. The hatred is just.
But it's not ours, and it's not ours to continue down. I saw George Soros saying that he was already in Ukraine with open society, as he calls it, civil society, before the fall of the USSR. So this is a long game, like you're saying, back to the 90s. In the 90s, he put out the NATO World Order document in 1993. A few years later, Bill Clinton starts expanding NATO. So the whole story we've heard about Ukraine in the last, 5 years is completely false. It's just propaganda and lies, it seems.
As soon as you read any newspaper that says Russia invaded unprovoked.
Right.
It's just a neocon propaganda.
Right.
The Washington Post, I at least give them credit. They found out that Zelensky knew when Russia was going to cross the border. And they asked him, why didn't you tell your people? And in the Washington Post, the response was, well, if I did, it would have cost me $7 billion. Wow. They published. And in other words, then he stands up, they killed all these civilians. They're horrible people. He knew in advance. It's I don't know, he's just a sadistic person. I do have videos, which I did give them, of him on stage as a comedian before president. And there he is joking about confiscating the assets of Russians and Jews. Like Soros, he pretended to be Christian. He married a Christian girl. His children are baptized. Only after he becomes president, he's suddenly Jewish, to hide the fact that he was one of the neo-Nazis. I mean, it's just.
It's sickening and it's embarrassing that we're still playing along, which is why I suppose at this point, Trump and some of the people that do support peace have had it. And I want to ask you, because you were targeted by the deep state, as they call them, the CIA, whatever you want to say. But now we're in a peace. Like, what is coming out right now about Arctic frost and Jack Smith and spying on sitting senators? What is coming out about the auto pen? I mean, we have a lot of our own problems. That part of this also seems like a distraction happened in Ukraine. Not that they didn't want that, but all of this going on, and we have allowed such criminality on our own soil that the whole project for a new American century and America leading the world and us protecting democracy is such a joke, when our own country, particularly the intelligence agencies, CIA and others created after the unconstitutional Patriot Act, have turned our country upside down. And how do we fix all of this? The Arctic frost is bad enough, but the auto pen, and then hearing somebody like Donilon say he was making $4 million for the Biden campaign of 2024, and if Biden won, he'd win a $4 million bonus. I mean, what is going on? Is it even salvageable? What is happening in DC?
In my case, they actually asked me to put in $10 billion into this Hermitage capital. And I was told that they were blackmailing Yeltsin, and they were going to have a new Boris Berezovsky was becoming the head, and then all the gold, the oil, the diamonds, the lumber, everything would be sold through the New York bank dealing desks. So I was told, put in 10 billion and I'll get 100 billion back. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not getting involved in regime change. And that's what my case ended up all storming around that. They know that, and I'm interested to see because, they didn't even have anything to keep me in civil contempt. They even stood up, the bank finally, I told my clients that they better come over here and sue the bank. They did. The bank finally had to plead guilty, give them back all their money. And after that, they still kept me in and they said, well, there's another fraud, but there's no description yet.
Sickening.
So I don't even have any charges, nothing. And who basically did it? Who was the head of, U.S. Attorney's Office? It was Comey.
I know.
And it was all to protect, in my opinion, Hillary. The stuff I found out was like the Benghazi thing.
Oh, God.
They were funneling arms to rebels in Syria and Libya to overthrow the governments.
Right.
And when Hillary testified before Congress, they said, well, why did somebody attack the embassy? She said, oh, what's the difference? She wouldn't answer. And
it's just what it seems like it's all about. It seems like the entire Hillary server, the entire emails, everything has a lot to do with what happened in Libya, because that was like a clandestine operation that went terribly wrong when our own people started dying from attacks with our own weapons. That's what it looked like happened there.
Look, that's why it was what I was in the middle of. And I knew basically what really took place. That's why she even started the Russiagate. And
it looks that way now, doesn't it? And here's the craziest part, is that it was a Five Eyes operation, Russiagate.
Yeah. And, she said that when she was asked why would Putin interfere in the election, she said, oh, because I criticized some election in Russia. No. It didn't even involve Putin. So it was all about this attempt to take over Russia. And I found that when you look through all the breadcrumbs, when Putin was standing with that Russiagate with Trump in a press conference, he said, you can come to Russia and question anybody you want. Right. And he said, I want to question Bill Browder. Oh. The two partners in Hermitage Capital that they wanted me to put this money into was Edmund Saffer, who ends up getting killed, I think, by the CIA.
Oh, yeah.
And Bill Browder.
Who's still protected, 100%. You can't even say.
And he resigns his American citizenship, so he doesn't have to pay any taxes, goes to Britain, and they still protect him. It's
crazy.
Berezovsky, who they were trying to install as the president, suddenly supposedly commits suicide. All right. His bodyguard even came out and said he was killed by MI6. It couldn't, it's just, the degree of lies and finagling around, all I can say is these people just grew up hating Russians when it was communists, and they just can't let that go. And it's even more so than China or anything. It's insane.
It's irrational. We could do so much better to have a cooperative relationship on so many planes, and particularly in the Arctic and in space. It's just so short-sighted. we just need to have a different path for humanity because we have all the stuff with the AI and with the surveillance and everything else. It's like, at this point, why would anyone fight a war over territory for any reason, for anyone? I can't even imagine. You would have to conscript all these people against their will, and nobody in America wants to fight another war in Europe. So, I mean.
But this is also the migrant problem. I was on the phone with people from Romania, and they were told by the EU to accept another 100,000 Middle Easterners. Oh. And they really think they can draft these people, hand them a gun, and say, go kill Russians.
No. It's not insane.
Wouldn't be surprised if they say, thank you for the gun, and turn around and give me more.
Yeah, I know. But look at it here, though. What we have in America right now is it looks like Mamdani's going to win in New York. And these are Democrat socialists. They're not really Democrats at all. And this also seems like, and you can see them, they're out there celebrating that they're going to run London and New York and all of this. It's the red-green access, all of that. But to me right now, America has a lot of its own problems that it has to deal with. If I was Donald Trump, I'd take your plan, I'd lay that plan out and start refocusing on America and bring back, like a lot of the Project for a New American Century, where we are all over the world. It's not necessary to be all over the world with the new AI and satellites and technology. We don't have to physically be everywhere. I mean, it just seems like there's so much we have to do here. Let's clear off our plate of the rest of the world and start fixing our own country. That's how I feel right now about it.
Well, I can tell you because I spoke to a number of people from New York. One friend who was an executive VP of one of the big banks, he had called me and he says, hey, I'm down here, you want to go to dinner? I thought he was just visiting. I said, yeah, okay, fine, what's up? He says, no, I moved here. I said, you moved here? Wall Street is moving to Florida.
I know.
Goldman Sachs moved their most profitable divisions here. A number of the biggest hedge fund guys that I know moved here. They joke, they go, well, you were the leader. We just took us a little longer to get here, but you went in the right direction. So,
but it does seem that the left or whoever's funding it, because a new report came out, there's hundreds of billions of dollars coming into our country to fund the demise of America through the NGOs and Riot Inc. And the amount of money being spent is insane. And they really want a civil war in America at the same time. And so to me, I feel like we have to turn focus back to, maybe that's why they made it the Department of War, because we have to stop with the war and start, looking at defending inside America and cleaning up America, because it looks to me like they're not done. They're going to have a big anti-fascism rally, even though they're being funded by actual fascists on the 5th. So, we have a lot going on here, and I think we really need to make a lot of changes. But New York I don't understand how it's going to survive, but it appears that 59% of New York City people right now are foreign, or born foreign, or came through the border. We saw them coming on buses every day, all the way in the beginning of the open border. So by now, every mosque is saying that they have to go out and vote as because of Allah. So I really think Mamdani's going to win. I feel like New York's just going to crack. What's going to happen?
I think New York deserves it, but,
Me too. Me too. Look at it. You think about when it was even Bloomberg, but you think about Giuliani, then Bloomberg, then they went straight to de Blasio, and it's just been at free fall since. So, maybe they need that to straighten out, but it's dangerous.
I don't see them straightening out, actually, but I think the same thing with California. California will probably end up splitting. You get these politicians, and I've said for a long time, there are no mirrors in a government building. We're always the problem, never them. All right. You look at Newsom. Instead of asking why are all these companies leaving California, taking revenue and jobs, oh, let's punish them. We'll put an exit tax for leaving.
Right, Mandani's saying the same thing right now. Yeah.
You got to get the hell out of there. I mean, it's just, this is it. I mean, you've even had Mandani's talking about raising taxes just in white neighborhoods.
I know. Isn't that nice?
I mean, if somebody else said that, let's just raise taxes on blacks. Oh, wouldn't that be racism?
Yeah, see, I'm in a very inverted, upside-down clown show. But,
Crazy.
I know, but at least you're putting out, I mean, you're one person that is a private citizen that is putting out a possible answer, because I don't think it's going to come from inside the government. It seems so rotten to the core. They keep saying there's good FBI agents. Then you find out, no, every FBI office was involved in this Arctic frost. Every single one.
No, it's, hey, look, it's, I mean, this is definitely it. I mean, it's, even mainstream media, I mean,
terrible. Oh,
them, they're
embarrassing. Hollywood is making no money. I hear they have 30% unemployment in the crafts of Hollywood. It's just, they did it to themselves, but I still hope that, we still enter some kind of rising golden age or something.
Well, I will say this, because I just heard actually this morning, but, they are making, they're turning the original documentary on me, The Forecaster, into a Hollywood movie.
Oh, great. Awesome.
And I won't mention the actor's name, but he's basically probably in the top 10.
Well, their story's fascinating. I mean, it's still going, too. You still have the Socrates telling us things that the EU's going to end, and I bet it will.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Well, at least there'll be one movie that people will want to see.
Well, I am surprised, but I mean, it seems to be getting a very, they're very interested in it. I guess maybe because they're tired of Batman number 23 or something,
Yeah. Well, I think people also want to see real stories. And, it's not just you. A lot of people, it seems to me when I look at the list of the people targeted, particularly the lawyers, Sidney Powell, John Eastman, Rudy Giuliani, Jeff Clark, and I feel this way about you and some of the financial people that were targeted. Those are the people that they're scared of to me. That's what it seems like. And as much as I like Cash and Pam Bondi, we have some real, I believe some of these lawyers, like Sidney Powell, are also military lawyers. We need people that are real tough and can start to clean out what they can while they can, because, it seems to me that the days of targeting people that are whistleblowers might be coming to an end. It appears whistleblowers are going straight to Grassley, straight to Johnson, and coming out. Maybe people for the first time are realizing that the people that were targeted are the people that should actually be in the front row fighting the battle, because they're the ones they wanted to remove from the board.
Well, this is, you can look at John Stuart Mills wrote On Liberty in 1859. And one of my favorite lines in there, we have yet to free ourselves from the stain of legal persecution.
Yeah, there you go.
They've been doing this for a very long time. You look at Brazil going after Bolsonaro, Macron going after Le Pen, Romania, we'll take, the guy that won the vote, no, he can't because he's under investigation. Hackers, you go down the list. Anybody that they don't want to be an opponent, suddenly, he's under investigation for fraud or this or that or whatever. It's legal persecution, and they've been doing this for a long time. When they, honestly, it gets to be almost like a sitcom. They wanted to take my lawyers away, so they threw me in civil contempt. This is civil contempt.
It's so
thrown in with the terrorists from the First World Trade Center building.
unbelievable.
secure facility in the country. All right. My family goes to see me. They say, "Oh, he's not here." They freak out. They go to lawyers. What do you mean it's not there? They go to the judge. Your Honor, we don't know where he's at. Judge, he's got to be. They said he's not. All right. He orders the government to find me. I go to court. They make it sound like I walked down, knocked on the door, and said, "Can I please come play with the terrorists?" They said, "Well, we don't know how he got there." Oh, really? You know, if you know, I was in there. I met all the guys from the World Trade Center. If you don't know I'm in there, how do you know who was in there?
Exactly. I mean,
and the judge goes, "Oh, you found him? Good job."
it's so, it's mind blowing. And they're the worst people. I feel like the criminals in the government that have covered up crimes, they get promoted. You look at people like Ray and Weissman and Arthur Anderson, and you look at Merrick Garland was involved in Oklahoma City. It's like they keep going, and they keep, since JFK, I feel like nobody's been held accountable, and the worst of the worst get promoted. So hopefully maybe we're at a crossroads where it'll turn around.
When I was in this meeting, they did show me the KGB file on JFK. It was about that big, that thick.
Oh, wow. Wow, wait.
And
wow.
They said to me, "You do know what we're asking you to do is what they killed JFK for." Yeah. I said, "Yes, I know."
I know.
It's, you know, they killed him because he wanted peace with Russia. Yeah. You know, they staged 2 coups in Russia because they wanted peace with the United States. I mean, nobody wants peace. Everybody wants
you
to
do. Thank God. Well, I'm just excited that somebody somehow, maybe God whispered in the ears of the people, because I think the people that have been targeted the most by the so-called deep state are the ones that should be on the front lines right now, because they're the ones they're scared of. I'd like to see you. I'd like to see Sidney Powell. I'd like to see Jeff Clark. Some of the people that they really, really tried to destroy. Peter Navarro. I mean, all these people, all they wanted to do was, make America better. And they just wouldn't let them because that's not profitable to the criminals that run our country.
They have their agenda, and like I said, I argued with Bill Kristol back in the 90s, and said if we remove Saddam Hussein, Assad out of Syria, and Gaddafi, we'll bring peace to the Middle East. I said, "You're out of your mind." I said, "All 3 are gone right now. Where's the peace?" You know, it's delusional. I mean, they really, I'm not kidding. That what I heard over Iraq was that, and it's the same story with Russia. If we go in, Putin's so evil, if we remove him, the Russians will give us a ticker tape parade and cheer us. I said, "Really?" They said the same thing about Iraq. It's always the same, routine. It's the same, nonsense that they put out, and you're out of your mind. I mean, first of all, the Russian people, European, American, Chinese, we're all the same. All right, everybody just must take care of their family. Wars are created by the elites at the top, not the average person.
But who dies are the average people. You look at all these wars, the war on communism, the war on terror. It's enough.
It's like the hole in the ozone layer that we're all going to die from. I guess they raised the taxes, that fixed the hole, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now Bill Gates is over that. He's moved on. It wasn't real. It's not working anymore.
It's something else now.
I know. Well, Martin, thank you so much for everything. Where can people find, I know it's on the website, Armstrong Economics. Where can people follow you? I know you're out there. What's best place?
I would say the website. You can go,
okay.
I think, they're on, we got stuff on X and different places too, but, the ArmstrongEconomics.com. You don't have to put in an email. We don't sell advertising. It's just an open source for the world.
And is your conference coming up? You have the anti-Davos.
Yes. November 1st to the 23rd in Orlando.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Actually, the first World Economic Conference was 1985, so this is 40. And I think we're going to hand out some of the booklets from the 1985 one.
But I want to go. Me and a couple of my friends, we're going to come because we're near you. And the truth is, like, I want to be part of something better and something that's brighter and a better future for humanity. And there's so few people that have a platform like you do that are actually looking at solutions and ways to make the world better. So I thank you so much. Every time that you come on, I read your Armstrong Economics every day. And thank you for still being out there and being a man that actually cares about humanity and life and God and country, because, you know, we got to find them. And thank God you're one of them.
It seems like there aren't too many of us around left anymore, but
there aren't, but thank God you are, and you're going to make a big difference, and I truly believe that God intervened and got the word that you have a good answer on how to end the war.